Hey everybody, this is Paula Ritchie with OtherRealm Studio. And today we are once again working on the Magnolia Fallen Rescue children's book, which I've I've been trying to figure out a good way to explain why I am uh, putting in this much work. And it's not just because um, I love my sister and the work she does, and the deer are terribly cute. But also, um, I kind of I want to document what she does, and I do not have the skills to film a documentary, but I do have the ability to illustrate a children's book, and I can write it too. I'm just holding off on putting text up on the screen. Oh, and today I've decided to add a couple more pages because there's more scenes that I want to put in, but I have not yet decided what those scenes are going to be. Um, One of them is probably going to be uh, phones in the playpen because they have such an expectant look. So they're just such funny, cute little creatures that are a lot of work. And it's not everybody who's capable of raising a deer. It's really difficult and also expensive, and uh, at times heartbreaking because they can't all always live. These are very delicate animals, and uh, also being prey animals, they will die at the drop of a hat. So, um, I just want there to be some evidence out there in the world, for decades to come, that this is something that my sister has devoted herself to, and she's the best. So let me scoot down this for a minute, make sure that OBS is still doing what it ought to be doing up here. Alright, so my desktop audio is very quiet. And I really don't want it to be picked up by the mic too much. because I tend to speak quietly and that drowns it out. Okay. So while I like animals, um, and I got very good at taking care of pets. Um, like I can housebreak dogs and wash cats. Yeah, sometimes they really need it. Um, so while I can do things like that, I am not that good at instilling a will to live in a prey animal. So I really don't think that I have the gift of, you know, taking care of a fawn like Connie does, but I can at least draw them. So over here, I know that jeans are a really common item to have around. Um, but it's kind of important to get the light and shadow and texture correct, or it's not going to look right. And so the more common something is, the more likely your mind is to try to take some kind of shortcut with depicting it correctly. But here the focus is mostly on the deer, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on clothes. But I want you to notice that the deer are brown and white, very warm tones, and in the background, Connie is wearing very cool tones. So she's got a lot of contrast, a lot of pop between her and the deer. So that kind of makes it a good picture. It's maybe a little awkward because she's sitting on the floor and part of her leg's off the page. But if I take the picture of these two guys and put that on a separate page, then I can go ahead and extend her whole leg there and there'll still be plenty of room to put text. Or if I take them off that page and then I do the playpens, well, I didn't have the right angle for the playpens to make sense being in the same room. So I don't know, some of this is a decision I'll have to make later when I finish editing the story and do the final pass on editing and formatting the book. So with writing, there's going to be several phases, I think. Um, I don't want to take it too lightly just because I'm billing this as kind of a children's book. I want to make sure that it's not going to drive any parents crazy on the reread for the 1000th time. Look, I have been in that position, and I believe that it is possible to write a book that kids will want to hear again and again. Oops. And also that parents don't mind reading again and again. Kind of a high bar, but I think I can get there. Okay, so here I had pulled the colors for Connie's shirt from the additional color set down here in the muted greens. We'll go down to the next shade and pull in some shading. So you should be about here. So a few years ago, I had I had more followers and subscribers and stuff. Um, and I would have been a little bit better at uh, publicizing Magnolia Fallen Rescue. But then, during during the great COVID mess, uh, things really went sideways for me, and they really haven't recovered. So I wasn't able to continue being very consistent. Okay, let's pull this up just a bit. So yeah, I lost touch with a bunch of people, and I feel kind of bad about it. But I'm getting back in, getting back to work, and I'm starting with a project that means a lot to me. And I'm going to try and be more consistent from now on. But I've got to get this one done. All right, this feels like the sort of thing that if you think, "Oh, I can always do it next year," before you know it, your opportunity is going to be gone. So, this is right now. This book is the most important. I mean, I've got the sequel to my superhero novel that I'm still writing. Um, I had a little bit of a crisis of identity over it. I feel like I am a completely different person than the person I was when I wrote it. So that kind of made it a little tricky to pick up again. Um, everything that happens to you changes you a little bit. Well, a lot of big changes happened here. So I I wasn't sure about anything anymore for a while. But I have I've gotten a lot done since then. I've been thinking over the story. I think I can get back to it, before too much longer. And so I'll have the sequel to Penance coming out sometime. I would like to say next year. I'd love to say sooner, but I don't want to make any promises just yet. Also, I have book 3 of the Soulbound comic series. And yeah, I have all the pieces I need to get done with it and to release it. Well, everything but a printer, but I have a resource. I'll see if this new guy can do something for me. I've got a sample of his work. So I'm excited about that. And I have another book that I'm writing that It's really funny. I think it's funny. And I could use a laugh these days. But yeah, originally I thought that it was going to have a lot to do with um, some of the storyline and uh, imagery in the fairy tale East of the Sun, West of the Moon. And yes, that's still there. But if you recall the original Puss in Boots and the whole fiasco about the Marquis of Carabas, um, and a whole, essentially a scam that this cat came up with, there's a bit of that in there as well. And honestly, it's gonna be hilarious. So it's gonna be a steampunk fairy tale still. And also, um, not a heist exactly, but a very comedic ransom situation. Okay, let's try and blend this without running into the deer. I probably, technically, should have kind of ought to um, put the deer on a separate layer. But, too much perfection or going over it again and again. It's not good for my speed, and it's not good for looking natural like paint. I don't want to be tempted to just hyper focus on a page and never finish the book. So yeah, for the rest of this month, I am going to be painting as much as I can every night, um, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, so that you'll be able to see the progress on the book. Um, so I don't know if I'll be streaming all the pages that I do. I mean, I don't want to be too spoilery. But I also think it's kind of important that y'all can see how much work has gone into this and how much care I'm taking with every detail. And I also don't want anybody trying to say that it's AI, because that's stupid. I imagine a lot of children's book illustrators are about to get put out of business. But I think that's more that's all the more reason to try harder to communicate and connect with your audience, no matter who they are, no matter how young the book is intended to be for. It's important to be a real live human and not take any shortcuts. And to do your best to produce good art. And don't believe this nonsense about art being purely objective. It's not. You know, not just anything can be art. It is work that is performed to a standard. Um, so before you can call what you do art, you need to make sure that you have um, the foundation skills. You know, before you try to get good at digital art, you should have your foundation skills in traditional media, even if it's just, 5,000 ways to render effects with pencils. Even if all you work in is blue ballpoint pen. Before you make a living or try making a living drawing portraits, you need your foundation work in anatomy and proportions, and in drawing live subjects. And you get your practice wherever you can. If you feel like you need to study uh, study and draw skeletons in order to get a good grasp of anatomy, do that. If you need to study uh, like medical diagrams and models, do that. The Renaissance masters uh, attended and uh, autopsies. Um, I personally would not have the stomach for that, but I mean, if it was good enough for Michelangelo and that's something you want to do, then you can find out how that can be done. Let's see. I am blending a little too heavily here. Let's take that down so that I don't blend all the way down to the sketch layer. But yeah, you can't rely on the tool to do the work for you. I really like digital art. Um, I like having all these layers and being able to add as many as I like so that I don't have to wait on things to dry. I like having all these colors. I don't ever have to worry about them drying in the paint in the bottles. Um, it's also very hard to misplace an entire computer. Nobody borrows a bit and wanders off and stashes it somewhere I'll never find, like with paper. But when I was starting off learning to draw, I had number 2 pencils, lined notebook paper, and ballpoint pens. And I think that working with limited materials to begin with, not only does it make you grateful for good materials later, but you're more creative when you have to figure out how to work with limited materials. So if you can create good art with a number 2 pencil and a ballpoint pen, then you can create complete art, like completed visions, when you have access to good materials. Okay, let's see if I can put his spots, or actually his streaks, about where they are in the reference. So he's got kind of a little stripe running up his neck. Okay. I should come back and add a little more dimension to his fur. Gently blend this right here. Had a little bit too much of a hard line. Okay, let's zoom back out. Alright, so next for this picture, to finish it out, we're going to need to work on this towel right here and the background, of course. Background will be a separate layer. I'm not 100% happy with the carrier that these two are in. I need to make it a little bigger. Alright, we'll give this page a save for now. Oh yes, and the ball cap here. And this is a page that I did early on in the process as a proof of concept. This one was also another earlier one, but that I've recently finished. So here's about where we are on the whole book. And I've done a little bit more work on this scene. I still need to come back and finish out a little bit more of the greenery, but I don't want to go digging through my reference pictures again just now. Okay, I'm stifling yawns here. I'm gonna have to go, but it's been lovely to be with y'all and work on this project. So come back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come keep me company. And we'll work on more. And also, don't forget, right now for the month of June, let me refresh this. For the month of June, the Magnolia Fawn children's book is on Kickstarter. Go search it up and pick a pledge level if you would like to support us. Every little bit counts. Hit the remind me button if you can't pledge just now. Um, you can share with the Facebook, Twitter, X button. Um, Nobody clicks links in email. You don't have to do that. But you can just copy the link here and copy and paste to your social media and tell people to come check it out. We need more people. We need like between 20 and 30 more people. And I mean each backing at a level to get the book or the book and the art print. Let me scroll down. So this is the art print that comes with it, with um, with this pledge level. Let's see, with the $25 pledge level plus shipping, and that's been our most popular one so far. And this is actually part of one of the stories that'll be in the book. Um, so this is about Jesse, and Jesse was born prematurely when his mother was struck by a car, and he was this big. Like, hands are in here for scale. This is not just um, something I was doing to get my point across here. It's not just artistic license. He really was that tiny. And uh, Connie wasn't sure he'd make it, but with time and care, um, he pulled through. You know, she got him warmed up and treated his injuries and gave him SQ fluids, and he's revived. And then he had a very weird year after that, and ended up needing so much care that he couldn't really help but imprint. But if it hadn't been for that, he would have been a wild deer today. Most of the deer that Connie raises end up being released into the wild again. They imprint on each other, which is kind of the point behind the bed buddies like this. See, these two, I'm debating whether or not to leave them on the same page. Um, but this is a contrast between two different kinds of stories that the deer at Connie's Rescue have. If they are going to have health issues, if they need to have physical therapy on their legs, like these two little ones, the little piebalds, or if they are piebalds and have dwarfism and other health issues, then Connie's going to pet them and talk to them and get them conditioned to being around people so that they can get all the medical care that they need. Much like zoo animals are trained to respond to their keepers. But if they are otherwise healthy, then Connie's approach is much more hands off, and she goes out of her way to make sure that they imprint on each other, like these two in the case here. And so that's just one of the many ways in which she makes sure that every fawn that comes to Magnolia Fawn Rescue has the best possible outcome for its situation. You know, usually the best outcome is that they're released in the wild, and sometimes if that's just not going to be possible, they'll live in the sanctuary. So, anyway, I gotta go. It's been, just shy of an hour, but I got a lot done. Came very close to finishing up this page right here, and I have ideas for more pages. So, Come back tomorrow. I'll see you later. Bye.